Hi everybody, welcome back. Chris Harold with you again for another installment of our IoT series, I Can Build It Myself. Today I'm excited, we're going to be breaking out the Raspberry Pi, putting it in its case, getting it fired up, loaded with an operating system. Pretty straightforward install, it didn't take particularly long to get it all up and running. Show you some of the details so you can follow along at home if you choose to order your own. And then in our next episode, we're going to bust into some of this good stuff right here and actually do some wiring on our breadboards and prototyping, and really excited about that. But let's get everything fired up and get our Raspberry Pi configured first. So let's get rolling. All right, so I have a Raspberry Pi. Came in this very nice box. First impressions, I expected it to be bigger. I'm not going to lie, it's very tiny. What you find in the box, the Raspberry Pi itself, the little, it's in this nice anti-static. Here's the micro SD card with the operating system on it. I ordered mine preloaded with NOOBS because I am a noob. And this is the 32 gig version. They have a whole bunch of different versions, but I started with this. Safety instructions, so we get rid of that. And also I ordered, since I ordered the Cana kit, I have the case. I just watched the video on their site that shows me how to do it, which I'm kind of recreating here for you guys, but their website is awesome. And the documentation that came in my box is fantastic. There's guides to reading resistors, which is useful for me to remember how to do that. A bunch of other stuff that is going to be incredibly useful as we go along. So I'm going to go ahead, pop open the case here. It looked really easy on the video, and apparently it is just as easy as they showed. This is pretty much it. So the case just goes together this way. You slip this little guy right in there. He nestles home. Yeah, looks good. Now I put this back on top. Now I did get, in theory, maybe I didn't get the camera. I don't think I got the one with the camera, so I'm going to skip that part. But if you got the one with the camera, you have to put the camera on at the same time. Since I didn't get that, I can go ahead, I guess I probably need to turn that around and put the top case on. Now, I'm going to have to remove this a number of times because I need to get at the PCB connector here. So I'm not going to put the lid on firmly, but it really does just sort of moosh onto the top there. It doesn't really click positively like that center section did, but there you go. Now I have my USBs and my network cable. Power's over here, HDMI. This is an audio and a shared video, like an S-video jack, and it's got nice ventilation here at the bottom and the top. Now, one thing that I did skip that's in the Cana kit, it's in the kit and not in the box with the Raspberry Pi, which is interesting, is these micro heat sinks that I am going to go ahead and stick onto the two chips. They're very obvious, one's big, one's small. And I'm going to pop the case back apart and do that. And when we come back, I will plug this into a TV and a power supply, and we'll see what it does. So let's do that. Okay, so I threw my heat sinks on, so you can see those through the case. One thing I wanted to mention that I didn't point out before, there is a micro USB port here on the bottom of the Raspberry Pi itself that's still accessible. So when you get the micro USB out of the wrapping here, you can just slide that in just like that. And it's nice because this has a little flange on it, so you can remove it pretty easily if you need to. But I wanted to make sure I showed you that I had done that, because when I go and boot this up, now I will actually have an operating system that will do something. Yeah, all right, so got my Raspberry Pi hooked up. I've chosen to wire it in for the purposes of the initial setup. Got my USB keyboard and mouse plugged in, HDMI cable, and power supply. Power supply is the micro USB style. I'm using the one that came with the Cana kit, so it's guaranteed to deliver the right voltage and power. Plug that in. I have a red light that tells me I have power, and now amazing things should happen, in theory. NOOBS is initializing. So as you can see, I can edit my config file from here. I can connect to Wi-Fi networks because the Pi 3 has wireless network capability built in. I can get online help, which is cool that you can do that directly from here. Or if I decide I didn't want to install anything, I can do that. I don't know what to do. I think I'm just going to install Raspbian. Now, I would very much like to come back and try Windows 10 IoT Core at some point too. I'm obviously not going to make everybody sit through this. I will let you know what happens when we come back. Hey, so side note, this part is not very fast. You should probably go do something else while it's happening. Just letting you guys know. So we'll rejoin it. We're at 40% now. So
6.5 hours later.
okay, I've gone ahead and rebooted, and our new operating system should be installed. Go ahead and watch this fire up here. Now, it looks like an OS to me. We've got Raspbian running, so very Linux-like operating system. Again, just a port of Debian, so it should be real familiar. Take a look here real quick at what's on the basic menu. What's really cool about Raspbian is it comes preloaded here. You can see I'm pretty excited about. It's got Python 2 and 3 idle environments. Node-RED, we could do BlueJ or Greenfoot for Java IDEs. Wolfram, Scratch, which is kind of a cool thing if you're going to do this as a project with kids. It teaches them via a drag and drop object model. Very cool. But it is a fully functioning Linux computer now, and that's kind of the point with our IoT. Is that's what the IoT is: a bunch of computers using common protocols and internet, not necessarily internet, but networking, to talk to each other to get stuff done. So very excited to get this fired up and start to build some code. And we'll look at that in our next installment. Hey everybody, before I signed off, I just wanted to add a quick side note. It didn't really take 6.5 hours to load. It was more like 15 or 20 minutes, so don't panic. Enjoy, have fun. Hope you enjoyed this part. I know it was pretty brief and simple, but this is the key first step to getting started with our IoT, is actually having the platform to build it on. So in our next step, we're going to wire up some stuff. We're going to do the classic Raspberry Pi Hello World project, which is getting some LED lights to blink. But what that's going to show us is how to interact and operate with each of the sensors that we got in our Pi Hello sensors. And then we'll pull all that together, and that'll help us take the next step. Remember, I'm going to be working in Python, but as you saw, there's a number of IDEs that you can use, whatever you're most comfortable with, but I'll be sharing my code and anything that we develop while we go along, so it should help you jumpstart right into it. Thanks for joining today, and we'll see you on the next session. Hope you have a good one.